Okay, now we're engaging in we two. There are going to be some sciencey terms. There are going to be some plain language terms, but I want you to bear with me and hang in there because there's an overall general lesson, right? And what you'll see that's going to come out is there's no such thing as, oh, this is just the way I am. This is my personality. No, a lot of what people consider their personality are learned unconscious traits, nervous system programming. Let's talk about it. We two polyvagal informed safety states. Just bear with me. We're going to get into it. How your nervous system shapes reality. This week, discover how your nervous system organizes your experience of the world. Learn to recognize your internal states and gain new choices for connection, growth, and healing. The quote that you've heard that you'll hear constantly is by Carl Jung, which says, when the unconscious becomes conscious, then it loses its power over you. That's why self-check-ins throughout the day is so important. Okay, what am I feeling in this moment? How do I feel? Okay, this module's purpose, right? This week's purpose is why this matters. Understanding your states help you to move from autopilot reaction to mindful responses. That's extremely important. Not just personality. Nervous system states change your experience. They're not permanent traits. It affects how you perceive things. It's like the statement, we don't see the world as it is. We see and hear people as we are. We're all perceiving information through our own filters. That's important to be able to slow down and remember that part because that's significant. States versus personality. You don't have one fixed personality. Your nervous system shifts into different states to keep you safe. States are temporary and protective, not flaws to fix. And we're going to dive more into that part as well because it's important for you to understand. So I have a reaction in this particular setting, in this particular situation. That doesn't mean you start saying things like, this is who I am, because then you're the one conditioning yourself for that particular outcome, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So let's look at it. You don't respond to the world as it is. You respond to the world as your nervous system perceives it to be. Deb Dana. Okay, so day one. Now we're about to dive in. Introduction to the nervous system states. The three functional states. Pay attention to this: safe and connected. That's social engagement. That's peaceful. When you're normal, you just engage, you feel safe. Mobilize, fight or flight. No, I need to run, I need to flee, I need to do something. And then shut down, freeze, and collapse. So let's get into it. These states are automatic responses. Your body moves between them to keep you safe, not to define your character. And a large part of this is based on the community you grew up in, your family of origin, the things you've experienced, what you've internalized as being safe or not safe, and that's part of it. And what you end up reacting on as adults is these patterns. Okay. So plain language science, neuroception. Your body scans for safety, danger, or overwhelm without thinking. States shift automatically before thought. You can learn to recognize and gently influence your state. What I see with a lot of clients, right? And it's happened to me myself. Okay, why did I shut down? Why did I not say anything in that situation? For me, especially, there was a thing when I used to be in couples therapy when I first started. I was doing my practicum internship. So I was just starting out. Man, I tell you, anytime it was like a deep male voice that reminded me of my dad's, I just freeze up. You know what I'm saying? Because of the experiences I've had as a child, which a lot of them just weren't conducive to healthy emotional health. So one time I remember this guy, we were with this couple, and the guy slammed his hand on the table, and there was domestic violence within the relationship. Slammed his hand on the table and and he said, she's like this table, you know? And I just froze up. I'm grateful my supervisor was with me. She took over the rest of the session. I recognized, because I learned to check in by that point, my heart rate, the breath, I checked in with all of it. And I was just feeling so overwhelmed in the moment, but subtly I started to be able to shift it, right? In that moment. So that's just an example how it was just an automatic response. It was unconscious. It's happened so quick But the more I start to recognize it, I start doing things like priming. I start doing breath work. I start doing meditation. I start visualizing myself in those settings, seeing how I wanted to respond, feel the feelings of being there. And eventually it started to shift because that's a large part of my practice and a large part of what I do presently. Okay. But I'm grateful in that situation. I was able to recover, and that's very valuable to me because now a large part of my practice is couples therapy. Let's continue. So, insight alone isn't enough to change our states. The body needs experiences of safety. Stefan Porges, I don't know. Hopefully I'm saying it right, y'all. So this is the thing right here. Remember what I talked about, the visualization? I had to prime myself and practice it over and over again because the nervous system doesn't know the difference between an imagined state or a real one. All right. So when I'm in that state, that really relaxed state, I start rehearsing it over and over again. So asking my question, okay, what do I have to believe to create this level of fear, this level of anxiety? What's the thought behind that? And I engage in cognitive reframing. Okay, group reflection. Think of a time you reacted automatically before you had time to think. What did you notice in your body? What did you feel or do? Look at what I did when I went to process that situation. Tightness in my chest, heart rate went up, shallow breathing, and I know where it came from. So that gave me a starting point to learn how to overcome it. I want y'all to make sure you lock in on that really, because my thing is for you to learn about your triggers, how you move, so you can be more of the best version of yourself. All right. So day 2, safe and connected state. So let's go through it. How it feels. Signs include curiosity, calm, confidence, emotional presence, and a natural sense of connection. This is extremely important because you ever notice that people that you're the most comfortable with, you might share a lot more, even if you're a quiet person. And then other people, you're kind of watching what you're going to say and you're more uncomfortable. But the more comfortable you are with someone, typically it's going to be the more that you share, which is significant because I want you to start recognizing your emotional patterns and your triggers, what calms you, what triggers anxiety. These things are very important. Okay, body cues, steady breath, softer facial muscles, warmth in the chest, and relaxed posture. All right. Why it matters in this state, learning, healing, and relationships thrive. So if you want to retain information, if you want to be more creative, if you want to be more resilient, if you want to be, the more relaxed you are, the lower your cortisol level, the lower your stress hormones, the better you become as a person. All right. That's why I love meditation and breath work, because it gets you in that relaxed state where you can show up as the best version of yourself. All right. Activity, safe and connected visualization. Close your eyes and picture a situation where you feel safe and connected. Notice your body, emotions, and thoughts. Let yourself really soak in this feeling. My suggestion is doing this 15 minutes a day, even setting a timer. For me, I know where that space is. Sometimes that space is the beach. Sometimes my space is with certain people. I really like nature scenes because it really relaxes me, but it may be something different for you. So find what that is. Okay, when do you feel most safe? With trusted friends or family, in nature, like I just said about me, or relaxing environments when expressing yourself freely? Okay, because it might be you being in a certain setting with people feeling free to express yourself. That might be it for you. The thing we're trying to get you to do is to what? Hold on to those chemicals of emotion so you can condition your body. That's what this is about. We want to practice something different. So that becomes the unconscious cycle of the nervous system. All right, day 3. I want y'all to lock in on this. Mobilized state. We understanding are these different states. Fight or flight. That's what a lot of people live in. That's what most people in the world live in, I should say. That's what a lot of people are comfortable with. So what triggers mobilization? Anxiety, frustration, overthinking. Your body gears up to act or defend. And nowadays in life, bills, things that we've created, pressures we've put on ourselves, pressures that's been conditioned in us from the people around us, our community, different standards we think we need to live up to, and things like that. These start to shift our conditioning. This is important to remember and to know. Okay, body signals. Faster breath, tight muscles, increased heart rate, like I told you when the guy slammed his hand on the table, restless, urge to move. All right, you can't sit still. Protective purpose keeps you alert to avoid danger and stay in control, but can be exhausting. Okay, anxiety, fear, anger. This pulls a lot of energy away from you, along with you not being at your best and you not being most creative. This is, think about this. Most people are living in this state. And from the studies, what it shows is you're actually shortening your lifespan. But I get it because so much is going on around you. A lot of people growing up in severe dysfunction and things like that, or even mild dysfunction, it can trigger this to be in that state because guess what? The nervous system is just trying to keep you safe. Daily life example, texting. A friend takes a long time to reply to your text. I've been here before. Mobilized state wonders. Did I do something wrong? Should I fix this? What's going on? Why they not responding to me? Maybe I said, and then you start reading into it, and before you know it, you're exhausted. All right. I know I've done that a lot. Now I try to reframe it immediately. Check in with myself because if it gets too far downhill, it's going to be tough. You can, but it's going to just be a little more challenging. Recognize the body's cues for mobilization. Notice the urge to act or over explain. Pause and breathe before responding. The breath. It's a little hack to relaxation, right? When you start to deepen and slow the breath. 5-1-5 breathing, 4-7-8 breathing. So 1 second, in for 5, hold for 1, out for 5, in through the nose for 5. You can even set a timer. Your breath is the main thing that changes when you change these different states. So we want to get back into the parasympathetic nervous system. So we want to slow things down and relax and become present. Let's keep going. Activity, noticing mobilization. Pay attention. Activity for today. Throughout your day, notice moments when you feel driven to fix, explain, or react instantly. How does your body feel? Remember, we're trying to bring you present. That's what we do in the check-ins because like Carl Jung said, I told you we'll say this a whole lot, when the unconscious becomes conscious and you start taking action, it starts losing its power over you. All right, so let's complete these exercises. All right, day 4, shutdown state, freeze, collapse. Let's understand what this is about. This is what it looks like. Signs of shutdown: emotional numbness, fatigue, feeling far away, wanting to avoid or withdraw. Then body cues. This is how you recognize it in your body. Slower, shallow breath, low energy, slump posture, difficulty thinking. You can't process thought. You can't be as creative. Why this happens? When mobilization feels impossible, your body chooses quiet to protect you from overwhelm. Guess what it's doing? Cutting off stimuli. Let's not move. And you want to rest and you want to lay down. Remember what we said? Fight or flight is exhausting. So I'm functioning in that pattern over and over again. My body involuntarily is going to shut down because guess what? It's trying to keep me alive. And it knows we can't function at high octane 24/7. All right. Reflection, feeling disconnected. All right. Think about times you have felt emotionally disconnected or numb. What triggered that sensation? How did your body respond? Y'all, please make sure we're journaling these things because one thing we want to do is be self-aware. Self-aware is going to be the key to change and to healthy relationships. All right, journaling prompt. When did you first learn that shutting down could be useful or necessary? What was the situation? So when you do this one, you're going to have to dive into, just ask yourself it and become silent. It's going to come up for you. And then the reasoning why is going to come up as well. Write the first thing that's comes up. Don't discount it. States are answers to the question, how can I stay safe right now? It's telling you your nervous system is trying to protect you. States are answers to the question, how can I stay safe right now? Polyvagal theory. Day 5. All right. Made it this far. Day 5. All right. Let's lock in for this one. Integration and self-awareness. Number 1, pause and check in. Notice your breath. Breath is always with you. Posture, emotional tone. 2, identify your most common state, safe and connected, mobilize or shut down. 3, ask yourself, what does this state protect me from? It served you in some way. Everything we do is because it served us in some way. And then we've developed these self-defense mechanisms. Some serve us, some don't. Journaling for integration. All right. Exploration. These are the key exercises that's going to trigger change, doing these things in between these sessions. When did I first learn that my most common state was helpful? What does my life look like when I spend more time in safe and connected? Because this is something we want to practice, feeling safe and connected. Inviting new experiences of safety. Complete the sentence. When I notice myself in a strong state, I can offer my body safety by, you complete the sentence. What we trying to do? Self-awareness, understanding what things help you to go back into that safe space or that safe state. All right. Small, gentle actions offer safety. Deep breaths. The breath is always with you. I want y'all to notice how many times it's mentioned here. Ground touching, grounding, your feet to the ground outside, or have a grounding mat or grounding sheets, because those things actually help. Connecting with a friend. Look, there's so much science behind these simple things that you can do. Deep breathing, grounding yourself, connecting with a friend. Your states aren't problems to fix. They're protective stories, deserving gratitude and gentle update. Thank you for exploring polyvagal states. Be kind to your states. Notice, thank, and gently update them, not by force, but with connection and care. You're bringing compassion and choice to your internal world every day. I don't want anyone judging themselves, but we want to, if you find that, okay, I didn't do the exercise or something happened, just go back and revisit it. Remember, this is your journey. All right. This is your journey. So you work at your pace. You can rewind it. You can start again. You can start week 1 again if that's what you choose to do. So don't beat yourselves up, man. Blessings on your journey. Have a great day.